Hello. So here's how I do a tap tempo delay on the X32 using ShowCockpit as the button. What you'll need to do this is you'll need your X32 or M32 console on the network, and it needs to be reachable by ShowCockpit. And you'll need its IP address. So you can get this by going to Setup, Network, and you can see in my case 192.168.1.10 is my IP. You'll also need a stereo delay in your effects rack. So if you come here to effects, you'll see that I have a stereo delay in slot number 2, and you'll need to know that slot number. So this is effects 2 here, and you'll be adjusting this delay time here based on the tap button that we do from ShowCockpit. So here in ShowCockpit, I have an empty project, and the first thing we'll want to do is add something to be our tap tempo button. And since I'm just on the PC right now, let's go ahead and add a keyboard keys so I can use just a key on my keyboard to tap the tempo. The next thing we'll want to do is go and add a generic OSC element, and this is going to connect to the X32. The name that you give it is important. I'm going to call it X32, but this exact name needs to be put into the script that we'll do next, and that's how it knows how to find the X32 from our script. So once you do this, you'll need to enter the IP of your X32 in here, 192.168.1.10 in my case. And the X32 expects OSC messages on port 10023, so you need to put that in your outgoing port. We won't be having any incoming messages, so you're safe leaving this where it is, or you can change it if you want. So let's go ahead and turn that on. And then finally, what you'll need to do is add a Lua Script. So here in Utilities, ShowCockpit, Lua Script, and you can call this whatever you want. Tap tempo trigger, for my case, I'll call it. And now when we open the window here, it'll give you a sort of a blank Lua Script. You can just delete that. And what you're going to do now is you're going to go over and head to the GitHub site for my script. I'll put the link down in the description of this video. And you'll want to go here to this ShowCockpit X32 Tap Tempo Lua Script. Go ahead and hit the raw button so you get the script alone. And now let's copy this and paste it into the Lua Script here in ShowCockpit. So all this script is doing is it's listening for whenever the script is activated, it acts as a tap button. And then it calculates the time difference between each time you tap it. And then it calculates the tempo and it sends that up to the X32 over the OSC protocol. There's a couple of things you can configure at the top of it. The very first one is the name of the generic OSC element that you configured here. So whatever you call this, in my case, X32, you want to make sure that you call it exactly that here. The delay slot is what we saw on the X32 effect rack. This is wherever your stereo delay is. So you want to make sure that that number corresponds to which position in the effects rack you have. And then max taps is just the number of times that you can tap the tempo before it stops averaging the time between each tap and it starts over. In my case, I found 12 works well, so you can set that to whatever you want. All right, so now let's go map this to something. So in my case, let's pick a keyboard key that's easy to use. How about the left arrow? And I'm going to map this on here to my tap tempo trigger. This is the Lua script that we just edited. So we want to execute the script every time that button is pushed. So let's hit the left and map it. So we now have a left arrow press that's mapped to tap tempo. And if we go back here, and now I'm going to show the X32 on the screen, and as I tap this left arrow at least 3 times, the script starts to run, and I start to get tempo changes corresponding to my taps. Now where this becomes useful for me is I perform live with a custom MIDI foot pedal, like you see here in the corner. And I want to be able to use this right bottom button here to trigger tempo for both my X32 and for my lighting console. So I have a project here. It's similar to the one that we just did, We have the Lua Script for X32 Tap Tempo down at the bottom. We also have our X32 configured with the same IP address and the correct port. So let's go ahead and turn that on. This is my custom MIDI foot pedal. We're going to turn that on as well. And then I have an instance of the Grand MA2 on PC lighting console running. And you can see here on executor number 18, I have a Speedmaster with a Learn button added to the bottom here as button 1. And just like we implemented with the X32, Grand MA2 has a built-in tap tempo function by just clicking this button. So all we need to do with ShowCockpit is just map the Learn button, and then you have a tap tempo. So what we're going to do now is come in here to our, let me first turn on Grand MA2. Come to our mapping section. I'm going to pull up my MIDI foot pedal, and we want to use this button on the right, button 7, which has nothing assigned to it right now. So the first thing we want to do is let's go ahead and assign our X32 Tap Tempo Lua script, just like we did before with the key. We want to execute the script, and we want to do it when we hit button 7. And I'm actually going to switch over to the iPad view of the X32 because it has a nice beats per minute view. And you can see that as I start to tap this, the beats per minute has updated on the X32. So that's as expected, like we showed before. And then I also go ahead and go to my Grand MA2, add an executor button. We remember that our Speedmaster was executor 18, and we're also going to assign this to button 7. So now we have both the MA2's tap tempo button, the Learn button, as well as our X32 Lua script that does the tap tempo. So if I switch over here to MA and I start to tap on this while I'm performing, you can see that my Speedmaster just updated to 85 BPM, and it's just as well, my X32 set itself to 85 BPM. So now the two tempos on my lighting console and my sound desk are synchronized. Anyway, quick little video, hope you enjoyed.